We have a lot of new construction
So much.
in our area. And I actually get this question a lot. And I just got it this past week. Can you actually negotiate with a builder
Yes.
on a home price and based on the contract?
It depends.
Yeah, it does depend.
It depends because I worked my magic this past Saturday, and then I tried to duplicate it.
So what
Duplication didn't
happened
happen.
last weekend with
Oh,
magic?
okay. So this same clients that I mentioned a little bit earlier that, they were ready to have a budget that made sense to make sure each one of their needs were met. And so with that, we ended up scheduling an appointment at 2 different builders. And what we did was we went and checked out what's the spec homes that were about to close, I want to say by May. And so quickly we ruled out one of them because they just were very proud of their product, more than they should be.
That humble pie needed to be.
Yeah. So we took that one off the list. I went ahead and canceled that builder's rep
What was
appointment.
the budget?
Our budget was, they really wanted to stay around $550-ish. And so that for the Argyle area, and they really had honed in on, they wanted to be in harvest too.
I think their kids were in harvest.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
first
that sounds like
want to be
kids.
my first grandbaby, and so we had an appointment to go and check out or get some more info on 2 of the spec homes from one of the builders, and we were running early because we had canceled the other appointment, so they couldn't fit us in early. And when we were walking out, I said, hey, let's just check out these other model homes. I intentionally didn't make an appointment at them because I was trying to be mindful, respectful of your budget. And I said, but it doesn't hurt for us to go in and take a look. So we go in and take a look, and the builder's rep had 2 homes that were listed at 700.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
more than.
Little jumper.
And
little
so
jumperoo.
I tell her, I was like, we're just gonna look around. This is way out of their budget. That's why I didn't make an appointment with you. Please don't be offended. And she was like, oh no, not at all. So we're walking around, and I just start talking to the builder's rep, and she said, we really need to get these homes under contract.
Motivated.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
It's a good story. I know. I'm like, who?
And so, I know it's
I'm
good.
like, this is getting me exciting. It's like realtor porn.
And I was like, all right, yeah, tell me some more
Tell me
about that.
more.
Yeah.
Like, anyway,
yeah.
Julie, pour me a glass of
Like-
wine before we get to the good stuff.
And one of them, I'm reading over the details on it. Like, they wanted a 1-story. It was a 1-story. I mean, it had everything they wanted plus some. And she said, the builder's rep said, I bet if you wrote a contract for $650 that I could get it accepted for you. And I was like, well, that's still 100 over. Thanks. And so I asked my clients if they would want to go and just drive over, because again, we still had like 40 minutes to kill. So like, let's just go over and look at it. And they go out to the car, and I go back in to go and get some more of the material on it. And the builder's rep, her assistant was still in there. And I went in to ask her a question about, the code. And she said, hey, I overheard you talking to the builder's rep. And she's like, I would encourage you to write whatever offer you want to write.
Entertaining all offers.
And
Yes.
so, I
Get a little pep in your step.
skip over to the car, and I was like, guess what I know? And so we look at the house, and then we have our little powwow, and they said, would it be really insulting if we offered them 6? I'm like, we think that we could stretch our budget. 'Cause again, that previous conversation of we might as well have the home that we want to have, and they can just inherit it. And there's their money.
Here's the house.
Yeah.
And the memory.
And so I said, you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to go in there and just ask them if we can have it, if she would present this to her bosses. And when I told her, you could see her gulp.
Yeah. She didn't want to do it.
And then she said, well, okay, let me give them a call. This might take me a minute. And when she hung up the phone, her eyeballs were just bugging out. And she said, you will not believe this. They said they would do it for $606.
Ooh.
They would do it.
I love this.
We ultimately ended up doing a little other adjusting because we wanted to take advantage of some lender incentives. But ultimately it still went back to that 606 if you factor in the lender incentive. So yeah, I just was like, you know what? It doesn't hurt to ask.
Was this the end of January? Because I have gotten the best deals in negotiating when it's towards the end of the month sometimes with builders because they're trying to make
They've got to make those
numbers.
numbers.
And they really wanted to move on to the next phase of their development. And these are the last 2 homes
that they needed in order to roll out.
Mm-hmm.
I had something similar just happen, not as like sexy as that. It was like,
oh my gosh, can you believe that?
That is amazing.
Well, I was just with somebody's budget. Like they had their budget at $550, but you have to look at what are you looking for your monthly payment because it may not be that different
and
from
$550
to
from
$600
development,
and
to
then you have
area
an incentive with the builder, probably with the lender, with the interest rate.
Yeah, and they ended up getting much bigger house, bigger lot. They hadn't even dreamed of having a media room and study and all of that.
Well,
and
Nearman's, that's what we just did. Same thing. And there are repeat clients that we love so much, and they wanted to start a lot lower, and we ended up negotiating with a builder that had pulled it off the market, and we got it. But it was the same thing. They didn't want to insult them, and then I was like, we're just going to throw the offer at them over Christmas. And they took it.
we're not best friends. So I might as well.
Yeah. If it was a best friend, you'd be like, you're making your boss.
So yeah, it's possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and fun little fact, I just have to say this. Realtors' commissions come out of the marketing fee.
People
they
don't
come
know
out
this.
of the sales price.
It's a whole different budget. It doesn't even exist. I just met with a buyer the other day that ended up having an agent. Don't get me started on that like 5 times lately. But regardless, they were saying, well, we're just going to go in. We have an agent, but even though our agent is showing us stuff, we're just going to go do it on our own to get a better deal.
Oh, no. We
what?
bought 2 new build homes, and I wish I had known that if I had gone in there with a realtor that they could have been my advocate,
100%.
and been able to negotiate something for me. And I also feel bad because I could have given someone
a commission to someone. Yeah.
And instead it just stayed with the
we
builder.
we have long-standing relationships with a lot of builder reps.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can have these really good conversations and find out the movement, the incentive. It's not always possible. Like you said, it doesn't always happen.
It does not always happen. It really doesn't. And listen, my own new construction house, guess what they came down? $0 is the answer. Like no matter what.
But if you had gone in there with me.
If I'd gone in with Julie, which I now feel as though I should have, lessons learned, because Julie puts her voodoo magic on buyers too.
Don't you ever wonder if maybe it's because you showed your cards, like a buyer goes in and they now know you want versus like you having a different advocate. It's a different conversation than when you're talking to the actual buyer.
They don't know the terms, the conversations, the industry itself, and so they don't know that there are certain things that they're not listing on their pretty little sheet.
Right. They don't know what to ask.
They don't know what to ask for, and they think that they're getting all the information, but you have to understand you're getting the information from someone who's advocating for the builder,
and
not for you.
You're getting bombarded with much information.
It's a little car
very much like
salesman-ish
whenever
a little.
you go to the doctor, and you really should take someone else in there
like
with
to take
you.
notes.
To hear and absorb all of that, because it's really overwhelming.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have a buyer that goes, what's a PID? I don't understand. And we have to explain like those basic things.
Absolutely. And it's convoluted here too. With
I
the MUDs,
have
the
to read
PIDs.
it because it depends PID by PID, city and county. So